the night here on Msnbc. Meanwhile, a barrage of controversy once again swirling around the Attorney General, Bill Barr, and his Justice Department. You'll remember these dramatic pictures from outside the White House earlier this month of smoke bombs, pepper balls, and police on horseback forcefully clearing a large, peaceful crowd in Lafayette Park. Also, the president could have a photo op outside St. John's Church. Well, the move sparked widespread outrage, and Bill Barr has since denied giving the order to clear out the protesters. But now, more than 1,200 former Department of Justice officials have signed an open letter calling for an internal investigation into Barr's role, saying we are disturbed by Attorney General Barr's possible role in ordering law enforcement personnel to suppress a peaceful domestic protest. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's bring in Cynthia. She's a former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst, and she signed the letter I just mentioned. Cynthia, I should note that in that photo, maybe we've got the video of the president and Bill Barr and Mark Milley walking toward the church, but General Milley has apologized. He has said he shouldn't have taken part in that. The military should not be involved in domestic matters, certainly shouldn't have been in full uniform when he did it. People are beginning to look at this thing and say there's something that's just very wrong about this. But the inconsistency, once again, of the reporting we get from Bill Barr, that part's at least consistent.
That is consistent. And we know what we know about Bill Barr is he's somebody who's pretty comfortable lying to the American people. He lied during the Mueller investigation about what Mueller's role was. He's generally, he has abused prosecutorial power, witness the Flynn case and the dismissal for one of the president's buddies. He's abused presidential power by reducing the Stone sentence. So he's very comfortable working against the system, quite frankly, and destroying the Department of Justice. In this case, he was also comfortable collecting himself a little army, which is totally inappropriate, gathering Bureau of Prisons officers and DEA officers, putting them in secret uniforms where they didn't display where they came from or what their name was, and ordering them around. Originally, the White House said he actually did do the order, gave the order to clear Lafayette Square. And then later he admitted that, then he denied it. We've got conflicting reports about exactly what happened. He says it wasn't a peaceful protest when, you know, I was watching on television when Garrett Hake was reporting, and it was a peaceful protest, and it was before the curfew. So there are a lot of questions, and a lot of people are worried. I mean, there's so many things to worry about at this Justice Department. He's completely corrupted it. I do think one of the next President Biden's first and most important jobs is to choose that Attorney General to try to reestablish a sense of justice and decency in the country.
Let me ask you, for all the things you've talked about, there's definitely some a political problem with this, because Western democracies have always believed that the role for police is domestic, the role for the military is offshore. It's for foreign incursions and things like that. But what do you believe? Do you believe any laws were broken, or is this just unseemly?
Well, I think the constitutional rights of the protesters, their First and Fourth Amendment rights, were trampled. Yes, I do think laws were broken, and the investigation will determine that. And then there's other lawsuits that will do it as well. That's all going to come out. But everybody is, those of us who still somehow maintain some sense of hope and optimism about the Department of Justice because we're so committed to it, think that an internal investigation may bear some fruit and may be helpful down the road. And let me just say, for Barr, it's not just it's everything. It's the lying, it's the prosecutorial abuse, it's the essentially excusing everything the president does, it's taking care of his buddies. And it's also, even on the police cases that you've been talking about tonight, you know, Barr has shut down, basically, the investigation of police cases. It started with Sessions refusing to allow consent decrees. Barr has concluded that. I mean, has kept that going. For instance, the Eric Garner case. That was Barr's decision not to prosecute the Eric Garner case against the advice of the career Department of Justice criminal section lawyers who knew how to prosecute police cases. Before Sessions and Barr, there were investigations into police activities, and the special litigation section would get consent decrees. Those are very important because they allow oversight of these police departments to try to make improvements. And under Barr's Justice Department, there isn't that. If there had been an Eric Garner case, maybe there would have been a special litigation investigation. Maybe George Floyd would be alive. We don't know that because they've so shut
Yeah.
everything down that's decent and right about the Department of Justice.
Yeah, the consent decrees, sometimes they worked, sometimes they weren't the best, but there was at least some sense that there was oversight somewhere other than locally on whether a police department was exceeding its authority as it related to civil rights and constitutional rights. And that doesn't happen under this administration. So we really are starting from zero when looking at police accountability now. Cynthia, thank you for joining me as always. Cynthia Oxney is a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst.